Hi guys, it's KD here bringing you another video around 1v1 Huns, and today I'm going to be talking to you about speed and control. So speed is a very important aspect of 1v1, as the more actions you do in a shorter time frame, the more likely you are to gain the advantage over your opponent. So as I mentioned in my previous video on hotkeys, learning and becoming familiar with these will help you to become a quicker and more proficient player, adding to your overall speed when playing the Huns. So let's look at some examples. So by practicing speed in your initial build order, you can produce as many as 100 units within the first 4 minutes. And this enables you to not only gain a number of advantages over your opponent, but it also enables you to grab key strategic points, such as hills, bottlenecks, between trees, and also sort of forward gold spots. So speed can also as well enable you to gain control of the map with defensive and offensive structures. So, say for example, let's just have a look at this map here. So just looking at my opponent's side, so you can see berry bush here of the enemy, and you can see there's a hill right in front. So I'm not talking necessarily about too much drastic speed to get to that hill. It's pretty close to the base, but you get the fundamental point that perhaps if I was rushing against this guy, if I had a lot of speed and I could secure that hill before him, can you imagine what a detrimental effect that might have over that particular player's base, overlooking them, their gold spots, etc. It would be fundamentally massive. And really, when we talk about sort of 1v1 Huns and being able to build that kind of advantage over your opponent, that's when you start talking about winning quite consistently when you're able to do that. So speed alone is not everything, but it is very, very important, and it is something definitely to invest time into. So as I say, you can gain map control in terms of being able to place defensive structures down. So I'm talking about following that up with sort of castles and things like that. But it also as well allows you to grab particular resources around the map as well. So you can see there's resources that are dotted around the map. When you're playing 1v1 Huns, there are 8 actual resource sort of gold nodes, as it is, around the map, including the main golds. So actually having control over these, if you have control over your main gold and 3 other golds, then you're pretty much level pegged. It really just depends on the type of map. I have seen some where there's 7, but more often there's 8. So having 4 of those means that you've got equal advantage to the enemy. Whereas if you just have say 3 and they control 5, you're almost automatically into a loss point. So having the speed to grab these is really important. And there are other aspects as well around the map. There are sort of hill points and things like that you can control. And it is very much about being able to control these, across the left and right flanks, because one, it kind of stops key bottlenecks that got into your economy, but it also as well puts pressure down on the enemy. Even if you aren't close in terms of presence, if you're kind of surrounding them, sort of here, middle of the map, and down here as well, and you control sort of 2/3 of the map, it puts out huge pressure on the opponent. And speed is not just about being able to build structures and units more quickly. As I've noticed in noted rather in my previous videos, hotkeys can also be used to navigate around structures and units as well. So this gives you control over your base, your economy, your military, and it reduces the need to scroll as much as well. So the minimap is always going to be important. I would definitely say you need the minimap in moving your viewpoint to a particular location, and therefore hotkeys only serve to support navigation. They shouldn't be solely used, viewed that's the main thing to do, but certainly they are very important in supporting your overall movement. So it's really to demonstrate speed and control. I want to take the opportunity just to show you what this would actually look like. In fact, I'm going to restart one more time because I want to start from the beginning. So let's just do this as you would if you're playing 1v1 Huns. Now, I appreciate this isn't going to be exactly what you would do in a game, because of course you'd have other things to factor, you'd be being rushed and things like that. But I would just want to show you guys how sort of speed and getting things down pat can really have an important effect and gain an edge over your opponent. So holding down shift, by the way, and just pressing the hotkey to enable you to build that particular unit that you want to build. You also want to be obviously looking after your scout, making sure that it's not just running off in a random direction, that it is actually trying to kill villagers. And you're listening out as well. I know I'm talking, so it's a bit harder, but you're listening out for those cues, those audio cues, for those units when they're, well, not units, but buildings when they're put down. So when you hear barracks, when you hear the archery ranges being built, with confidence that you can do what you need to do. And obviously, as in previous videos, you'll probably see a couple of tactics that I'm using there with my units as I'm getting them out, just to show you guys. But really, I guess I wanted to demonstrate, sort of using speed here and sort of what effect this can have over your initial build order. So I've already got that up. So let me just pause that there. This is 2 minutes 45, okay, and appreciate I'm simply, I'm not being rushed, I'm not really having to worry too much about where my paladins are going, but I just wanted to show you sort of actually the uptime of putting down structures. So I'm at 50 population at 2 minutes 45, and one of the things that I mentioned just previously in this video is around about 100 pop in 4 minutes and getting that down pat, because it is actually really important within a Huns game to do that, and hopefully I'm going to achieve that in this game. I've got my villagers left idle. You know what, I'm just going to leave them idle just for a minute, because this kind of serves as an interesting point around these particular units, because what I want to tell you here is that you do not have to worry about taking manually sort of villagers and going plonking them up, down, left and right or whatever, because it's just not necessary to do it straight off the bat. These structures here in front of you are the most important. I'm just going to pause it at 100 pop there, so 100 pop at 3 minutes 45, and I appreciate I'm playing against the computer, but outputting your units as fast as this is hugely important. I challenge you guys watching this video to try and match 345 for 100 pop, and just try and get to grips with it. That's not with me doing anything. I appreciate having control of things, but there's actually loads of actions here that I could otherwise have used. I could be looking at controlling paladins in that time. I could have been looking at controlling villagers in that time, but I haven't. And really, as I mentioned just a moment ago, leaving your villagers to stand idle for a second is not a bad thing. You will see in my games, even though I play at 1900 2k level, I leave my villagers standing idle for a second, because there's just no need. There are other things that are more important for you to focus on right at the beginning of the game. Building barracks, building stables, building archery ranges, and these kind of things. However, what you can do, so as you're outputting units, so I just want to kind of unpause now, and I'm just going to show you a little bit about navigation. I know I touched on this in a previous video slightly around hotkeys, excuse me, but you'll see. So Q and W, building paladins around my stables, and then F and C, building archery, cavalry archers through the ranges, and then X and C, controlling, being able to create halberdiers. And if I right click on the map as I'm doing this, so let's just say I just press X and right click there and right click there, and all of my units are now going to gather here. And what this means is that this is just a really effective way of being able to output units at a particular spot very, very quickly. So you're going to see I'm just going to change that direction for all my units. They're now all going to go, over here. Appreciate I just moved some of my villagers as well. They just come out in a wave. But that's just going to completely change the direction of my structures. And what I also wanted to say is that I use the down mouse wheel for my town center, and I use the up wheel to select my idle villages. Although in fact, if I just pause that there for a second, I'm pretty sure that this might be set to the wrong hotkey option for my mouse. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it is. You basically up wheel on my mouse is for selecting other villagers, and I had that set a bit weird on my mouse there. But basically what I then do is, while my guys are just doing stuff, I'm then looking to, and I'm not going to talk too much about economy in this game, but it is something I want to cover off. But then I can just use my villagers individually to basically go around and start to build structures around. And what you find is that if you spend just a few seconds doing this, you start to gain more control over the map. This is all down to speed, and you can start to put down those structures which are really, really important, even if it's just a couple of bits of trash around or some siege, and then that's all my idle units dealt with, like, within a very, very short space of time. I appreciate I'm talking through this, but trust me, it only takes me like 10 seconds to use all of my villagers that are at my disposal that have just kind of gone idle in my base. I also, as well, talking about navigation just very quickly, so whilst it's really great to navigate here using that, so say like I'm at their base, I'm like raiding around, like I can just press F to go back to my archery range. I can press X and then just straight back to my base, or Q and I'm straight back to my base on my stables. Really, really fast, quick way of being able to do that. Or as these TCs are upping, I want to get around my TCs. It's just down on the mouse wheel and I'm do, and I can just start outputting villagers. Or I want to go around my siege workshops. It's just R to be able to do that. So at any one time, if I want to get around my base, it's like, okay, I need to, look how much of the map I'm covering here. Back of my base, in front of my base, like round my barracks, round my archery ranges, round my stables. And I know this is coming out quite quick, guys, and I really hope I'm not bowling some of you back like, whoa, I'm never going to be able to do that, but actually it's quite simplistic. These are like 5 or 6 hotkeys that I'm pressing here. It's nothing too major. And it really assists you in being able to navigate around the map. Eventually you're going to press on something that's going to take you approximately where you need to go. But I'm not trying to dub down the use of the minimap and using that to click, because of course that is very important. And there's certain things that I will click through the game, like unpacking packing and unpacking trebuchets. I still click, and certain things I will still do around that. But even down to my idle military. So that's just space bar for me. I find that really convenient. It just offers so much in terms of control and speed. You don't want to be messing around like looking for your idle units. You just press space and you suddenly have them. So it's just like, round my TCs, round my build base, round my stables and barracks, and round my siege, round my castles, around my military. And speed is just one of those elements. And if you can speed that up, why not? Why not speed that up and make it more efficient? And yeah, there's other things you can do. You could, control 1 on your stables, control 2 on your barracks, control 3 on your archery ranges, and you could just go 1, 2, 3 and just put them in one place. That's down to some people. Some people don't want to have to do this all the time, but it's just the way I learn. And there are different ways of doing things, and it is a lot of it down to preference. So I would encourage you guys to, learn and learn in a way that you feel is comfortable for you. Just take pointers from me. I hope I'm being helpful in this respect, but and just have fun with it. Anyway, I appreciate this has been quite a long video. I kind of spiraled off in a couple of directions, which I wasn't quite intending to do. But hopefully, guys, you really enjoyed this video. You got something out of it, and if you did, great. Please subscribe, please like, please comment. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything, as always, that you didn't quite understand, please hit me up on Voobly. Kdanjuro is my name, or KD. People will know me if you ask for me, around for me. People will link you through, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, guys. So, brilliant. Have a good evening, and I hope you have something to take away from this.